Assalamu alaikum, welcome to 168 Hours, your weekly roundup of the top local stories. I am Fatma Zaina Rifat, your host for the evening. Stay tuned. The chief government spokesperson, Muhammad Hussein Sharif, says the highest economic priority for the administration is repayment of external debts, warning failure which would plunge the nation into default and unleash widespread negative repercussions across the entire country.
Speaking during the presser with the Spokes press conference series detailing the nation's debt management and economic trajectory, the chief government spokesperson noted that the country finds itself in a fragile economic state, with the administration expressing dissatisfaction regarding internal debt levels. While resolving this domestic strain remains a parallel objective, the administration has no intention of achieving economic reform at the expense of civilian necessities, asserting that the importation of essential oil, the disbursement of employee salaries, and the provision of medical care will remain fully supported. The chief spokesperson stated international financial institutions have advised the administration to aggressively curtail expenditures, yet the administration refuses to suspend citizen-focused services in the name of austerity. He observed that the government has made tangible progress in managing its fiscal standing over the past 2 years, guaranteeing that the impending debt obligations scheduled for September of this year will be fully met. International financial institutions have documented an overall improvement in the country's fiscal condition, echoing the administration's optimistic outlook. The chief government spokesperson said over a span of 2.5 years, the current administration has retired $1.29 billion in debt, successfully reducing the nation's total external debt to 44.5% of its gross domestic product by the end of May of this year.
The Maldives Monetary Authority, MMA, increases the amount of US dollars it sells to commercial banks by 25% to ease foreign currency shortages during the tourism off-season.
The increase came into effect and will remain in place for the next 3 months. According to the central bank, the additional dollar allocation is intended to help commercial banks meet demand for foreign currency at a time when tourism-related foreign exchange inflows typically decline. The MMA said the measure is temporary and aims to ease foreign currency liquidity pressures within the banking system while ensuring smoother access to US dollars for essential transactions. The authority added that the increased supply is expected to reduce foreign exchange shortages during the off-season and enable banks to better meet the need of their customers. The MMA also highlighted a significant increase in demand for foreign currency this year. During the first 5 months of 2026, the volume of foreign currency sold by the MMA through commercial banks to businesses and individuals increased by 72% compared with the same period last year. According to the central bank, the sharpest increase in demand has come from overseas travel for medical treatment and education. Foreign currency sold through commercial banks for medical treatment and education abroad rose by 78% during the first 5 months of 2026 compared with the corresponding period in 2025. The MMA also said foreign currency allocated for the import of fuel, staple food items, medicines, and medical equipment increased by 30% over the same period.
President Dr. Mohammad Muizzu announces that the airport and hospital projects in Ali Fushi, Ra Atoll will be completed and officially opened within his current presidential term. The president made the remarks during his regular series of meetings with journalists, responding to a question from a reporter regarding the stalled progress of the Ali Fushi Hospital project. A 30-bed hospital is currently being developed in Ali Fushi under a project valued at $8.3 million. The project was awarded to MTCC with a completion period of 2 years. President Muizzu said the healthcare sector remains one of the highest priorities of his administration. He noted that healthcare accounts for one of the largest shares details of projects awarded and scheduled to be awarded under this year's state budget. Highlighting the condition of the healthcare sector when his administration assumed office, the president said the system had been in a very fragile state. He said the government's current efforts are focusing on establishing a holistic healthcare system capable of delivering comprehensive services to all citizens, while acknowledging that some projects are not progressing at the desired pace. The president stressed that Alifushi Ra Atoll plays an important role in regional development. He said all pledges made to the island, including the airport and hospital projects, would receive special attention. The president further stated that a special schedule has been developed to complete hospitals and healthcare centers across the country, with projects planned for completion in different phases throughout his term. Healthcare services in Alifushi are currently provided through a health center. The new hospital building is expected to expand available space and increase access to specialist medical services for residents. The new hospitals being constructed under the government's program are designed to include flu clinics and isolation facilities, allowing healthcare services to continue uninterrupted during disease outbreaks, such as COVID-19. In addition, each hospital is scheduled to be equipped with solar photovoltaic PV system to help reduce energy costs. The development of an airport in Alifushi Ra Atoll, which is geographically isolated from the other islands in the atoll, has long been a key aspiration for the island's residents. To facilitate the project, 50.5 hectares of land have been reclaimed. According to the government, 80% of the reclaimed land has been allocated for the airport development. The remaining land will be used to address housing needs for Alifushi's population of approximately 3,000 people and to allocate space for economic activities. The airport project includes the construction of a 1,200-meter runway, an apron, a taxiway, and airport roads. It also includes development of a terminal building, a fire station building, the installation of firefighting facilities, and the construction of a 655-meter security fence. The project is being funded through the state budget at a cost of $27.6 million. The Parliamentary Committee of the Whole approves a government-proposed amendment to the law to reduce the import duty on cigarettes. The bill was submitted to Parliament on behalf of the government by Komando MP Mohammad Ibrahim. Under the current Export-Import Act, an import duty of approximately $0.52 is charged on each cigarette. However, the proposed amendment would halve that amount to around $0.26. The amendment also proposes exempting nicotine replacement products, including nicotine chewing gum, nicotine patches, and similar products specifically designed to help people quit smoking, from import duty. The proposed changes to Section 7 of the Act would reduce the import duty on 3 categories of tobacco products. In addition to cigarettes, the duty on bidis and heated tobacco products designed to be heated rather than burned, would also be reduced to approximately $0.26. At present, all of these products are subject to an import duty of around $0.52. According to the government, the amendment would reduce the amount of import duty revenue projected in this year's state budget. It estimates that if the changes come into effect from 1st July, import duty revenue will fall by around $1.36 million compared with the original forecast. After reviewing the bill, the Committee of the Whole recommended that it be passed without any further amendments. The recommendation was approved unanimously by the 69 MPs who took part of the vote. The Minister of Tourism and Civil Aviation, Mohammad Amin, says the most significant benefit of operating a wide-body aircraft is that it enables the Maldives to safeguard national security and respond to emergencies when required.
The minister made the remarks in response to a question from Mohammad Ibrahim, parliamentarian for the Galaru North constituency, who sought clarification on the benefits achieved through the introduction of the wide-body aircraft, its current destinations, and when flights would begin to destinations other than China and India. Minister Amin said having a wide-body aircraft under the Maldives' independent control is of paramount importance during national crisis, including times of war. 2024. The minister noted that launching wide-body aircraft operations was one of President Dr. Mohammad Muizz's key pledges. He revealed that 67,000 passengers have traveled on the aircraft during the 16 months since it was introduced, of whom 55,000 were tourists. He added that the aircraft has also been used for Hajj and Umrah charter operations as well as for other essential missions. Speaking about the airline's network, Minister Amin said the wide-body aircraft is currently operating flights to 3 destinations in China as well as Australia and Saudi Arabia, in addition to other destinations based on demand. Maldivian, the national airline, currently operates both scheduled and charter services to several international destinations using its 264-seat wide-body aircraft. The government is aiming to further expand the airline's international network by launching services to additional destinations in line with President Dr. Mohammad Muizz's pledge. The government is also working to acquire a second wide-body aircraft for the national airline. Island Aviation is currently working to bring the aircraft to the Maldives by the end of this year. The airline has also announced that agreements have been signed to launch Maldivian's wide-body services to South Africa, with operations expected to begin in the near future.
The newly appointed ambassador of the Maldives to the United Arab Emirates (UAE), Tariq Ibrahim, presents the copy of the credentials to the UAE government. The credentials were presented to the UAE's Minister of Foreign Affairs, Omar Obeid Al-Shamsi.
During the meeting, Al-Shamsi welcomed Ambassador Tariq and wished him success in his new role. He also reaffirmed the UAE's commitment to further strengthening cooperation with the Maldives across various sectors for the benefit and well-being of the people of both countries. Ambassador Tariq commended the UAE's progress at the regional and international levels under the leadership of President Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan. He also reaffirmed his commitment to further strengthening and expanding bilateral relations between the Maldives and the UAE across a range of sectors. The Maldives and the UAE share close and long-standing ties. According to the government, cooperation between the two countries continues to grow in areas including environmental protection, climate action, tourism, and renewable energy. President Dr. Mohammad Muizz appointed Tariq as the Maldives ambassador to the UAE last Thursday after receiving parliamentary approval for the appointment on the 22nd of June. Tariq previously served as Minister of Tourism and Environment under the current administration. The ambassadorial post became vacant after the former ambassador to the UAE, Mohammed Hussein Sharif, was removed from the position on the 6th of April.
The Minister of Tourism and Civil Aviation, Mohammed Amin, expresses confidence that the Shangri-La and Hankhede projects will see significant progress from this month.
Responding to a question from Ahmad Azan, parliamentarian for the Hitadu mid-constituency, during a sitting of the parliament, Minister Amin said the Hankhede project is a key tourism development initiative for the southern region. He said the government is preparing to launch the project under a new approach and that a detailed implementation plan, including the timeline for the commencement of physical works, will be announced within the next 2 to 3 weeks. Furthermore, Minister announced a decision has been made to significantly expand the operational capacity of Shangri-La in July, following positive discussions between Ministry of Tourism and Civil Aviation and the resort's operators. Minister Amin noted that although the resort resumed operations on 30th December 2025, it has so far been operating on a limited scale. Reopening Shangri-La was one of President Dr. Mohammad Muizz's presidential pledges, and the resort welcomed guests again on 30th December last year. The government is also continuing efforts to expand tourism in the southern region, including Addu city. As part of those efforts, it is working to identify new opportunities to promote tourism in Addu and implement additional development projects in the city.
Minister of Homeland Security, Labour and Technology, Ali Ihsan, calls for prisoners to receive vocational training that would enable them to establish their own construction companies after completing their sentences. He made the remarks while speaking at a ceremony to inaugurate a new office building at the Aseri prison.
The new building was designed and constructed by prison officers and inmates. It includes additional office space, a classroom and a meeting room, and is expected to help address existing space constraints at the prison. Speaking at the ceremony, Minister Ihsan praised the quality of the construction work, saying it demonstrated the capabilities and skills of both prison officers and inmates. He stressed the importance of expanding vocational training programs to equip prisoners with practical skills that would enable them to become entrepreneurs and contractors after their release. During the visit, Minister Ihsan and Commissioner of Prisons Hassan Zarid laid the foundation stone of a new prison kitchen, which is expected to improve catering facilities at the prison. Certificates were presented to 36 prisoners who completed a religious awareness program held during the holy month of Ramadan. Certificates were also awarded to 29 participants, including 5 prison officers and 24 prisoners who completed the Khad 100 program. The minister also inaugurated the Kirat Certificate Level 1 course with 35 prisoners enrolled. In addition, he officially launched a prison football tournament involving 7 inmate teams aimed at promoting health and strengthening social relationships among prisoners.
President Dr. Mohammad Muizzu ratifies an amendment to the Maldives Export-Import Act, passed by Parliament, reducing the import duty on cigarettes to $0.26 per cigarette.
Under the amendment, the specific import duties on cigarettes, BDs, heated tobacco products, and other consumable tobacco products designed to be heated rather than burned has been set out as $0.26 per unit. In addition, an ad valorem duty of 30% will apply to these products. The amendment also exempts nicotine replacement products specifically intended to help people quit tobacco use, such as nicotine chewing gum, nicotine patches, and similar products from import duty. Following the President's ratification and publication in the Government Gazette, the amendment has now come into force. As a result of the changes, the government expects a reduction in the import duty revenue previously projected in the national budget. The amendment further requires the relevant rules and procedures to be revised and published within 30 days of the law coming into effect. In November 2024, the government significantly increased cigarette import duty from $0.21 to $0.52 per cigarette as part of broader changes to tobacco taxation. The government has stated that the latest reduction in cigarette duty was made following recommendations by the World Health Organization (WHO). In recent years, the government has introduced a number of measures aimed at strengthening tobacco control and protecting public health. These include introducing a generational smoking ban, banning the import and sale of vaping products, and implementing other tobacco control policies over the past 2 years. In addition, the government officially launched its National Tobacco Control Campaign on 27th of June, following its announcement on 31st of May. The program seeks to raise public awareness, expand smoking cessation services, strengthen enforcement of tobacco-related laws and regulation, and promote coordinated efforts between the public, government institutions, and civil society organizations to reduce the harms caused by tobacco use and protect public health.
The Maldives Monetary Authority announces special awards titled The Distinguished Contribution to the Financial Sector have been bestowed upon the individuals and institutions that played a leading role in expanding the Maldivian financial system.
These honors, presented at the Central Bank's 45th anniversary celebration, recognize long-term service towards developing a robust financial landscape. The accolades comprised a special award for revolutionary change and an appreciation category for central bank leadership. Recipients of the special award include the State Bank of India for introducing pivotal banking services and former President Maumoon Abdul Gayoom for establishing the central bank in 1981. The late Ismail Fathi earned a posthumous honor for founding the Bank of Maldives, while Ilyas Ibrahim and Ibrahim Shafiq were commended for establishing Allied Insurance. Dr. Azima Adam received a special award for transitioning the national currency to polymer notes through the Ran Diha Fahe series. The appreciation category honored governors and deputy governors, President Gayoom, Muhammad Jalil, Qasim Ibrahim, Abdullah Jihad, Dr. Fazil Najib, Dr. Azima Adam, Ahmad Nasir, and Ali Hashim. The late Ismail Fathi and Arif Hilmi were also recognized for their service as deputy governors. Over 45 years, these individuals have shaped a powerful institution that safeguards the financial system representatives maintained. The central bank observed, under their guidance, the Maldives achieved significant advancements in commercial banking, payment systems, and monetary policy. These leaders established a modern financial infrastructure.
President Dr. Mohammad Muizzu states that the government is pursuing modern solutions to strengthen rehabilitation and reintegration of young offenders.
The president made the remarks in the third episode of the Pulse podcast, which focused on the national response to drug abuse. He said the government's core policy is not only to protect young people from drug addiction, but also to ensure those already affected are rehabilitated and given the opportunity to return to society as productive, respected, and self-reliant citizens. President Muizzu noted that there are numerous factors driving people towards drug abuse, stressing that the problem can only be solved by identifying and addressing its underlying root causes. He explained that housing difficulties and shortcomings in development policies are among the structural issues contributing to the problem. He said the government's response therefore extends beyond law enforcement and rehabilitation programs. Measures include addressing housing needs, expanding employment opportunities, creating new income-generating prospects for young people, and supporting small businesses. The president also highlighted initiatives aimed at strengthening individual self-reliance, creating opportunities for women to earn an income while working from home, improving the country's healthcare system, and expanding access to education. He said these initiatives are all designed to tackle the root cause that lead young people into drug abuse and crime. President Muizzu revealed that the government is developing a modern rehabilitation project to enhance the reintegration of young offenders into society. Although the initiative will require significant investment, he said land has been allocated in North Tilafadu for the project as part of wider efforts to ease housing pressures in Malé. Providing an update on the project, the president said considerable time has been spent securing financing. Proposals submitted for the projects are currently under evaluation, and he expressed hope that implementation would begin without significant delay, allowing tangible progress to be seen during the current presidential term. The episode also featured President Muizzu responding to public concerns relating to the day's topic. The Pulse podcast is hosted by the government's chief spokesperson Muhammad Hussain Sharif and follows a format in which the president shares his view on key national issues and answers questions submitted by a moderator on behalf of the public.
And that's all the news for tonight.